When using the Event Gives display feature, you'll first navigate over here to your display tab. From here, you can click on the Edit Templates button, and then it will present you with an option to either edit a current template or you can create a new template. So in order to create one, we'll click on that button there, and then we can decide between a 2-column display or a 2-column lower third display. The one on the left here, this 2-column display, this is best utilized for a paddle raise, meaning you can have all of your name shoutouts on one side and then have your event earnings on the other. For the 2-column lower third, our best practice here is if you wanted to display the current items and bids as well as shout out your sponsors, or if you have any vote to donate items, those are great to display here as well. And then you can have your total earned here and name shout outs up here in the left-hand column. So for our first example, we'll go ahead and select our 2-column display. And then we're prompted to add content block here and add another content block here. So once I click that, I'm again presented with 2 different options here, our shout outs here and our event earnings. Again, our best practice is to have all of the names on the left-hand side and then your total event earnings on the right-hand side. So I'll select shout outs, and then we can check off the names in which we want to display. So for a paddle raise, in this case, we would want to display any name that has made a paid donation or made a pledge in order to pay for their donation. So I will uncheck the rest of these boxes here. That way I can be sure that only the names associated with that paddle raise will be displayed on screen. Next, we have the option of showing the full name. We could just show the first name or the paddle number, or decide not to show any or make them all anonymous. Again, keep in mind that your paddle raise will be taking place in room, so people will be able to see who is donating. Therefore, we do typically find that most people decide to show the full name. Again, it's just another way to be able to recognize that donor in room in front of everyone. You can also decide to hide the donation, or if you were showing the bids, you can hide those as well. Again, in this case, because it is a public paddle raise, I will just leave that as toggled off. One thing we do always suggest is to show that spotlight. Again, this is where it will just flash a special thank you to whoever just donated. It's just a nice added feature to be able to really highlight and recognize those donors that are giving to your organization. So in this case, I'll toggle that to on. And then lastly, we can decide if we'd like to show any previous donations. So this means any donations that have come in before the event has even started. I will go ahead and select to show those because again, I think that they do deserve that recognition in room. So we'll go ahead and check that box. Once I'm confident with my selections here, I'll go ahead and click Save. And then I'll move on to my next content block. So I can hit Add Content Block here. And in this case, I'll go ahead and select my event earnings. And I want it to mimic exactly what I have on my name shoutout. So I'm just going to select the paid donations and the pledges. So I will uncheck the rest of these. And then I have the option of starting the event at 0. I personally like to start it so it'll show all of the total amount donated. So because I've selected those show previous donations, I will leave that box unchecked so that way it will show our total amount. Your event goal here, you can select to include a goal here. However, our best practice truly is to leave that empty. We never want to create a ceiling at which once it's met, that people will stop giving. So I will leave that empty and we'll go ahead and click Save and then Next. And then I can label this template whatever I would like. So let's say it will be for our paddle raise 2026. And I'll click Create. Now here is my recently created paddle raise. And once I'm ready at the event to go ahead and start that display showing up on a screen, I would again navigate to my display tab here. I will highlight this link and open it in a separate tab. This now functions as my mirrored image in order to cast up on screen. So the next step here is once we have that opened on a separate tab, it allows me to then begin pushing content. So we could go ahead and select push content and select that template that we have just created here. So once I do, it will show that it's currently displaying that paddle raise. And if we head over to our paddle raise here, it shows all of those previous donors and the total amount raised. Now, once you are ready to start a new screen or a new tab showing, we'll go ahead and clear screen. We will cancel out of that window there, and you can see that it just brought up a new display that I can then, again, copy into a new tab and select a different template. Now, let's go ahead and create a two-column lower third template. So we'll go ahead and create that template by selecting that option of format. And again, I like to include my shout outs up top here. And for this one, I'm just going to show my auction item. So I'm just going to show those bids coming through. Maybe I just want it to be the first name. And then I'll click save here. And then when I'm ready, I'll go ahead and click add content block here and select event earnings. And again, I'm going to mimic those bids. And I'm not going to select to start at 0 or set an event goal. So I'll click save here. And then the new content block down here, this is where we can select that item rotator. So I can go ahead and select all, or maybe if I just want it to be my raffle or my silent auction items, I will uncheck the following and then click next. And then here is where I have the option of adjusting that time in which it shows up on the screen. So I'll leave it at 8 seconds, and I definitely want to include those sponsors. So that way it will show in between the items, it'll show those sponsor logos. And I'll click save, next. And now we can label this one. Maybe this will be Silent Auction 2026 and create. Again, to bring up this on a new screen here, we'll copy that website here. We're going to go ahead and open that in a new tab. And then we'll push content. And now we can see our current bids here. And as people start donating and as people start bidding, that information will show right up on here. And here are our sponsor logos. And then it will continue to go back to all of our items. Heading back over here to our display feature, a few things to note. You can upload your own logo here. And you can also change the name of this display. So maybe this is what's showing in the lobby. So we can go ahead and save that. And then we can start another display and open that, and it could be a different location. So you can have multiple displays showing at this same time.